Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Liv, and you read the title of the video, so let's just get into a little bit of background. I'm going to run a little profiling of our parser, okay? The parser that we've written in Perl, off of which we want to base basically all of our language design stuff, okay? So I'm just, it's really quick, I promise. So anyhow, now you will see in the results we have and sometimes it appears and sometimes it doesn't, right? Because the time fluctuates. Um, but anyhow, as you can see, we have 10,000 calls to this one line, and you can't see the entire function here. So I'm just going to open up the file and show you. So that's 575, so 575. You can see this is basically a one-liner, right? So why so much overhead? Well, as it turns out, Perl does not have inline functions. So I went in and added in the feature. I haven't, the feature hasn't yet worked its way into the main code because it's still experimental. But basically, we can sort of take the code in here and have it be put in place in line, in the line, right? In the line where it appears. So how does that look like? Well, let me show you, okay? I'm going to open up a new terminal. I'm going to my folder, and I already have a test file here for this. And it is using shadow libs, right? Because I invented them and I'm going to use them, okay? So here is basically the file, okay? So what stripline does is it will take a string and give you the length of the string with all white space removed, right? And so you can use this to say, is this string nothing but white space, right? So that's the way it works in a nutshell. So yeah, let's just see what happens, okay? So here we have a use inline, and we are having to pass it the library path. Sometime in the future this will not be the case, but right now it is so. We have to pass our library path and the libraries we want to use from that path, okay? And so what will happen is this is a source filter, by the way. It will read our file, and whenever it encounters a symbol that is declared as inline, as we can see in here, right? So if it's given the inlined attribute like so, and this is not a new syntax, this is something that's already built in Perl, at least Perl, the version I'm using, which is 3.536. Okay, so with at least the Perl of 5.36, and likely as recently as 5.1, I believe, you have these attributes which you can assign to subroutines and variables as well. And so I decided, well, I'm just going to declare a new attribute for subroutines and just work my way from there. Okay, so we'll look into the internals of this, in a second, but just for you to understand the basis of how this works, you declare your subroutine as inline, and that's that, okay? And how state variables are handled and how arguments are handled, we'll get to that, okay? We'll get to that. But for now, this is enough. Now, there's another trick that I have to do in order for this to work, but yeah, once again, I'll show you later. For now, basically, if it finds a symbol that is declared as inline, it will replace it inline, right? It will inline the symbol. So let's see how that looks, okay? So I'm going to run a little update. Okay, so it's all fine. and let's just test the shadow lib, okay? And as you can see, we have here a print. The line was extended, and now we have the contents of the function within the line. And this is just to show you that this is actually doing an inlining. I'm going to deactivate the filter, like I'm going to deactivate the filter right here, and what will happen is it will not find this library, right? It will not find the symbol because I have the thing commented out, okay? So if I run this, it cannot find it, right? But if I activate the filter back again, it finds it and it runs just fine. We have only 2 non-white space characters in this string, right? So basis, the thing works, right? So this is a minimal implementation, okay? So there are some details that haven't worked out yet. The most notorious one is that if I do this, this thing will break. You know, new lines, right? But anyhow, like this is minimally functional, right? So the neat thing about this is that if we deactivate the filter, but we import the module that has this symbol, if we bring it back the pure Perl implementation, this thing will run just fine and give us the same results, right? So okay, let's do that again. So 2, which is the correct value. So here's sort of the thing, right? Suppose I say no inline and then use the inline back again, and I have to de-import the lib for this to work, okay? So see what happens. That doesn't work, right? That doesn't work. I can actually, I knew it wouldn't work, but yeah. I knew it wouldn't work, but you know, I just had to. I was expecting another error message. But anyhow, so what's the deal with that? Well, here is when we get to the backend stuff, right? So if you don't like this, just skip ahead. But anyhow, what's the backend for this? It's sort of complicated. First and foremost, here in any module where we said use inlining, basically, because of some weird stuff with how the code attributes work, we have to make our package a subclass of inlining, something that I think doesn't make sense. I believe the better way would be to just use inlining, but if I do that, it's not going to work. I tried. So I don't know. Well, I'll have to try. I'll have to try something else. Um, maybe it can be done, maybe it cannot, because I prefer this syntax, right? Use base inlining is like it's too much. For now, in any package that we've marked as using inline functions, we have to make at the end of the package, or at least at the end of our inline declarations or definitions, we do need to make this little call here. Okay, so I can probably make this be automatic. I have to look into that. There's probably a hook I can use to have the call be automatic at the end of the file, right? So likely it's possible, but I forgot how to do it, or something like that. But anyhow, we do have to make this call, and here's the trick, right? What dump SBL will do is it will dump the symbol table of inline functions into a file. And then if we go into hacks inlining.pm, we'll take a look here, we can see we are fetching from this SBL table, which is basically a global, right? So you say my module uses inlining. Inlining will create this SVL thing, and whenever you declare an inline subroutine, inline function or subroutine, it will register data from that function right to SVL, right? So it's a hack. It's absolutely a hack, but it works, right? So that's kind of a thing. So let's look at and here's a little note for core Perl developers, right? Because you see packages and attributes starting with lowercase, may conflict with future reserved keywords. But like, yeah, right. Here's a little ringer, right? This, and I'm just reading the comment because yeah, it's what it's written, and I stand by this statement. This topic's about inlining subs dating as far back to at least 2002, and probably before that even. A full 20 years since the time of writing. That was yesterday, right? So I developed this in under 8 hours or something. I'm pretty sure you'll never do it, so I'll just make your intrusive error message, because this error message that your attribute is that may conflict with a future reserved keyword appears anytime you have an attribute, you declare an attribute that starts with a lowercase letter. So it's like, shut up. And shut up in the sense of I'm just going to mute standard error and redirect it to dev null so that I don't have to read that error message. So yeah, right. I know I'm not supposed to do it, but I mean, you guys are not gonna do it. So, someone has to. And the rationale here is, it's not like inlining subroutines or doing this sort of macro-like expansion. It's a useless feature. Matter of fact, I mean, I show you the profiling, right? Calling this function that I inlined about 10,000 times, it takes its toll. There's an overhead for calling that function. If I inline it, and I know this because the first thing I did was inline it manually, which was a little bit of a pain in the ass, but I inlined it manually, and suddenly, no longer a problem. No longer a problem, right? So the overhead for subroutine calls, it's way, way out of control. And so whenever you have a subroutine that's like a one-liner you wrote, to save your typing, that's problematic. It's a performance concern. And so core Perl developers, I don't know what they are doing in their free time, but obviously they do not have their priorities set straight. Just putting that out there, okay? So anyhow, my point is, you have no right. You have absolutely no right to put this error message. Absolutely no right. Like, it's a feature that's necessary. It's necessary for performance reasons, and you will not do it. Well, something's wrong with you, people. Okay, so that trash talking out of the way, let's just get to the guts of this, okay? So basically, whenever you declare a subroutine as inlined, it will call this function. That's basically what. And yeah, we're using the dir parser. That's from dparse, I think. So this basically gives you like the code. It gives you the code from a code reference. Okay. And we use that because that's from that code we will just build what we are going to paste into our whenever we inline, we want to take it from there. Now, little note, we do need to use subroutine signatures, right? So if you want arguments, you need signatures, right? So shift is not going to work, right? So shifting from at underscore, yeah, that's not going to work with inlines, right? That simply not. So yeah, you do have to use subroutine signatures, which is basically a sub name, arg0, argn. It's the natural way to program, right? And basically you do it like this, right? If you do not do it like this, you cannot get arguments. Sorry, not going to support. I'm not going to offer support for not doing it that way. I'm sorry. That's the syntax I'm going for, and you'll have to respect it. But anyhow, what we do is we build a little hash out of this, right? And then we just do some tokenization, some cleanup of the code first and foremost, some tokenization, and then we look for certain symbols that I want to handle before I finish processing the code, right? And this is basically state and my, so that I can see, so that I can find the arguments and any subroutine state variables, which are like statics. It's basically static variables, which it's basically a variable that's scoped to a particular subroutine that is defined once and then doesn't change, right? So if you declare state var and set it to 0, and then every time you enter you say var plus plus, var will not be reset to 0 the next time you enter this subroutine, right? So it's a static. That's what a static is. So anyhow, we do read through my and state in order to find these values, and we save them to their own little hash, right? And so from there we can fetch values, and then we just dump that into a file. And how does that file look like? Let me just open up a new terminal, and I'm just going to go here and say nano.lang, and any library that starts with a dot, it's a shadow lib, right? Got that? Okay, so what do we have here? We have the symbol name. First line is the list of state variables. Second line, list of arguments, right? So actually I should change this so that it's just the index, right? So we want to say replace everything that has this name within this snippet, replace it with the first argument that's passed to the function, okay? Basically that. And so this is generated automatically by dump.svl, right? And it will check that the library that you're trying to build a symbol table for actually needs to be updated. So we won't regenerate the file if we don't have to. So that's kind of nice. And yeah, and that's basically that. So this kind of works, right? I showed you this thing works with some caveats, and one of the caveats is what I showed you before, the little thing with the, how do you say, that deusing inline will result in the symbol table being destroyed, basically. And why does that happen? It's because, as you probably don't remember, so I'm just going to show you. As you can see here, we are calling inline. Whenever we want to use inline, we have to pass the library path and our list of libraries, right? Or list of packages that we want to bring over from that library. So what's the problem with this? It's that, and this is likely a very good solution to this, and I'm just not thinking about it, right? So most likely. Well, the thing is, yeah, this symbol table, it's created from this hash that we're passing to the import. It's created right there on the spot, and then passed to this blessed reference. And what happens is, once default finishes, that self is destroyed, and so that this reference is destroyed, and so the table is destroyed as well. So probably what we have to do is make the table global. Like I know how to do it. Like it's basically just my table, right? So it's nothing out of this world. But I'm not entirely sure if this would persist. I think yes. I think it would. Let's just test, okay? So let's see. Let's say a package because anyhow, this whole having to pass the hash is not really what I would do. I would say just use inline and then just scan the list of available modules. But I have to look into how to do that, so this is good enough for now, right? But okay, I suppose we do this, and then we just assign to table, and actually I should capitalize that, just to, it's just a nice thing, you know, symbolize that something is global. And so we don't have to do this. We can just pass it a annual reference. I think I don't even have to bless it now that I think about it. No, I'm going to do it just in case. Like I think if you do not bless it, it doesn't work. You can bless an array if you want, by the way. So what we have to do here is just, instead of a self table, it's just table, right? And that would be that, yeah. Okay. So actually, let's see if that works. Because now, yeah. Now, using no inline will just devastate it. It would just devastate it, which would mean we would have to save this somewhere else. I'm not entirely sure where. Well, we're going to need an additional hook to solve that problem. This, well, there has to be a way. There has to be a way. Well, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But anyhow, I presented you the feature. I presented you the problems with your reasoning, and I basically give you a solution to the problem, and now some problems with the solution to the problem, and now a promise. I will work on ironing out those little details to make it so there are less problems to the solution, right? So yeah, that's it from me. Have a good one. Bye.